cycle. Now look at this. Look at Job 36. Look at Job 36. Job 36 and verse 27 and 28. Look at what he says here. For he maketh small the drops of water. They pour down rain according to the vapor thereof, which the clouds do drop, and what? Distill upon man abundantly. And that's what evaporation does. It distills the water. And what's it say? Look at that. He maketh small drops of water. Well, evaporation, that's what evaporation is. It's making small drops of water. Water vapor. And that's what he calls it. They pour down rain according to the vapor thereof. Now, isn't that interesting? Here Solomon is talking about this how many thousands of years ago? It's interesting. I find these things very, very amusing because the scientific world of today does not want to give proper credit to the ancients that is their due. The ancients actually knew more than what they give them credit for. But anyway, as we look at this, we see that all things are full of labor. Now look at, all right, go back up to verse 3. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? And as you progress along the way, you'll find out, look at what he says here. Look at what he says down in verse 14. I have seen all the works that are done, again, under the sun. And behold, all is vanity and vexation of the spirit. And when you look up the word vexation, it comes from the word vex. And the word vex means to irritate by small annoyances, harass, tease, make angry. And it also means to agitate, make restless, disquiet. You see, labor does not bring rest. It makes you restless. There is no, what's he say in verse 8? All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. When you think about it, beloved, we're always looking for a way to improve our situation, aren't we? We're never really satisfied with what the Lord has given us. We really want to try and make things better. Solomon says in conclusion to this, he says, let me see where it is. In chapter 4, or in chapter 3, in the last verse of chapter 3, verse 22, he says, Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion, for who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Rejoice in what you have. Don't be looking for something better. Well, what does Paul say? I have learned in whatsoever state I am in, therewith to be content. That's the idea. To be content with what the Lord has given you, the portion that God has given us. But when we look at man's philosophy, and when I say we, and when I say you, and when I say us, I'm talking basically in a generic sense. I'm not talking about members of the body of Christ. I'm talking about humanity as a whole. That's what you got to remember. things that are done under the sun. Okay? And it's the labor that's done under the sun. Now, he says of this labor that it's vexation of the spirit. It's vanity. It's emptiness. Look at what he says. Look at what he says in, chapter 5. Look at what he says here. And boy, this puts, you take all the heathens, all the heathen nations, all those heathen nations, even today, but especially those heathen nations. Egypt, for instance. Egypt's a prime example because of all those pyramids, all those tombs that they made. And not just Egypt, but any of those Oriental countries. China, Japan. What did they do? India. What did they do when their emperor died? They buried all their possessions with them, right? They thinking that the emperor would take them on into the next life. Shucks, their wives would kill themselves. And they would kill their horses, thinking that the horses and their wives would follow them right on into the promised land. Okay? Or into the next life, whatever the next life would be. So the Egyptians, they built these massive tombs and the pyramids to put all their riches in. And look at what Solomon says about all that in chapter 5, and let's look at this in verse 15. It says, "As he came forth of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind?"